Melissa Meiste here from Nephew Physical Therapy to talk about asking Melissa almost anything. Last year, during the shutdown in the spring of 2020, we started doing some Ask Melissa's almost anything. And while it's been hard to continue as life has brought back on more responsibilities, I really do like being asked almost anything about physical therapy. Just the other day, my friend Jim stops me in the parking lot as he was in the neighborhood to ask me about how he should or what he should do for his plantar fasciitis. Now, of course, he goes, I know I should do physical therapy. Yes, you should. And we'll get to why that should actually be front of the line, not the back of the line. But I gave Jim some advice, and I want to share that with you today. The thing about plantar fasciitis is it's traditionally, in my experience, an overuse injury of the tiny muscles on the bottom of the foot. And if you've ever heard this analogy shared by me before, I hope it makes you laugh. I like to think of the small muscles of the foot like a 100-pound little gymnast that bends and twists and super mobile and does a bunch of things and yet is still strong. The further we move up the chain, say to the glutes and the hips, you now have a 6'5", 300-pound man that can bench press hundreds of pounds because he is big and strong and stable. Not as bendy, but strong and stable. When that relationship between what the big guy should do and the little gymnast should do, when the little gymnast has to make up because the big guy decided to take a few weeks off, she gets overused, overworked. Plantar fasciitis can ensue because we are now overutilizing the muscles of the foot. And to correctly identify that and to really correctly strengthen the muscles that have been ignored, a good physical therapist will guide you through that. But here are your simple tips on things you can do to either manage, try to fix it at home, and or avoid it. First of all, let's talk about icing, the most basic thing. Rubbing an ice cube on the bottom of your foot doesn't sound fun to me, but it is a way to manage pain. When we do an ice massage of any kind, 5 to 10 minutes is usually enough. You're going from cold, burning, aching to numbness. Secondly, you're probably going to want to stretch out your calves a little bit. That can be done by standing on the edge of a step if you can tolerate it, or you take a belt, a rope, something, attach it to the bottom of your foot, the ball of your foot, with your knees straight, and pull your toes towards your knees. Like all good stretching we talk about, stretching should be held for 30 to 60 seconds, should not be painful, can be uncomfortable, and we repeat it 2 to 3 times. Here's another tip. Untuck your sheets. Now, this is interesting. I could digress on a marital battle at a home that my husband likes them untucked and I like them tucked. But when it comes to plantar fasciitis, keeping your sheets tucked in, like military style at the end of the bed, will keep your toes pointed all night. That pointed position, the weight of the blankets, adding to it, keeping those toes forward, will shorten the muscles on the bottom of your foot, again for that extended period of time, making it harder to put weight on it in the morning. Let's also talk about shoe selection. Oh, right? I love me some super cute flip-flops. Oh my goodness, right? Like, it means it's summer, it means it's warm. The problem is the only way these stay on your feet is by squishing your toes. So what are you doing? Contracting your plantar fasciitis, or your plantar fascia, which turns into plantar fasciitis. Contract. So, recommendation is sandals that have a heel cup, a strap, like your Tevas or your Keens or your Merrells, tennis shoes, things that don't require you to use your toes over and over and over again to keep it on. Last tip is you can do some self-massage with a tennis ball. You can also use a golf ball if you're, totally sadistic, but I recommend a tennis ball because it's soft and squishy. That's where you're just going to roll it underneath the ball of your feet to your tolerance, adding some pressure to try to loosen up those muscles. So 5 things for you to think about if you're experiencing plantar fasciitis or if you want to prevent it. But again, as I mentioned at the beginning, physical therapists are not only trained to massage, loosen, do all those things, but identify the root cause of said plantar fasciitis. And again, it may not be in your feet, maybe in your butt. So remember, friends, plantar fasciitis, very common this time of year as we're bringing out those flip-flops. Pain is not normal in the plantar fascia. Do something about it.